Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. Coming up, what to do about the theft of almost everybody's credit file from Equifax. We'll get tips from the Better Business Bureau and answers to your questions. That is coming up. First tonight, hard to believe, but the Hurricane Center says another storm named Jose might be heading for the Atlantic coast. Joining us tonight is Russ Strickland, Executive Director of the Maryland Emergency Management Agency. Russ, thanks for stopping by.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. So we saw what the hurricanes have done in Texas and Florida, and we're fortunate that we're not in the Gulf, we're not near the Caribbean, but we're not immune to this necessarily.
We are not. And as you mentioned, Jose, that's one we're keeping our eye on. Right now it appears to be kind of going in circles in the Atlantic Ocean, and hopefully it'll stay leeward and stay in the Atlantic Ocean.
Let's hope so. Let's hope the end of the hurricane season gets here pretty fast.
That would be very nice.
So if there were a big storm head in our direction, what do you do? What is the plan?
Well, we basically have a checklist that we go through, and we'll start immediately, more than anything, communicating with our local jurisdictions, communicating with the National Weather Service locally, as well as the National Hurricane Center out of Miami, and then with our state coordinating functions, which are basically our state agencies.
So the point of planning is to know what you're going to do, because doing it on the fly would be less than ideal, I guess.
It does. It gets a little messy, to say the least. But what we'll do is we'll start communicating, and depending upon the course, direction of the storm, severity of the storm, start discussion as to whether or not there are areas of the state that would need to be evacuated, what areas of the state we would need to establish shelters, and all of this will be worked with the local jurisdictions. I mean, we don't take over, we work with and coordinate with the local jurisdictions.
With all of your years in emergency management and public safety, when you look at how Texas handled Harvey and how Florida handled Irma, what do you see?
Two model states. They really are. When you look at emergency preparedness and emergency management, Texas, Florida, and California, three of the largest states, but particularly Texas and Florida, who have a long history of hurricanes as well as other disasters, are extremely well prepared.
And you can't plan for everything. I mean, you can plan for a hurricane, and we sort of know what's possible. But today's 9/11, which is the reminder that not everything can be planned for, and incredible things happen sometimes. So you're always on alert.
We are. We're focused, during the normal hours on really two areas. One, consequence management. So it can be an event that we know is coming up the coast, like a weather event, or it could be a terrorist event. Either way, we've got to coordinate for consequence management. And when we're not focused on consequence management, we have our folks also looking at disaster risk reduction. What is it we can be doing to reduce the amount of damage we may have from whatever the event might be?
What's an example of that?
Preparatory efforts for a weather event. Whether or not you have your homes are raised in an area that's known or prone to flooding. Along the terrace front would be whether or not the structure itself has protection around it, as well as the glass in the building protected and things like that.
When you look at the incredible footage over the weekend of the winds in Florida, and then you look at, really, from what I've seen so far, how little structural damage there was, it calls attention to the importance of building codes, following the code.
Exactly, and Florida's been a leader in the fact that they've had that kind of experience with hurricanes in the past, but their codes are pretty stringent and able to withstand, a Category 3, 4, and maybe a 5.
Let me remind our viewers, if you have a question about Maryland's emergency management system or emergency management in your community, give us a call. We'll have the number up on the screen. You can also tweet your questions. The Twitter address here is @MPT News. Now, Russ, on a individual basis, an individual citizen, individual homeowner, what precautions, even with no storms on the horizon, everything's sunny, what should people have on hand?
Well, the basics from the perspective of if they need to leave their home and go someplace, do you have a go kit? And it's kind of tough to say, well, this is exactly what you have to have in a go kit, because it really needs to be personalized. But it's those kind of essential items that if you do need to leave and go somewhere, you have, like your medications, anything that helps you sustain your life, you should obviously have in this go kit and be ready to go. You should have an evacuation plan that you've worked out with your family and have shared that with family members who may not necessarily live with you, but family and friends, so that you know who to contact and where you might be able to go.
Let's grab a phone call. Baltimore County, this is Fred. Fred, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
My question is, where would someone call, or what agency would find out if they should have flood insurance?
Great question. Thank you very much.
It is a very good question. If you live in Baltimore County, you could contact first the Baltimore County Office of Emergency Management, and they'll have the maps and be able to identify which areas of the county are in either floodplains or floodways. You can also contact us. You can contact the Maryland Insurance Commission. All of us can tell you where you fall.
Did anything change in the broader emergency management business after Katrina? Enormous disaster, and obviously the evacuation decisions are extremely difficult. We just saw that in Houston. But has the business changed?
Yes, yes. I think it has stepped up several notches. I think we are much, much better prepared than we were with Katrina. I think if folks who went through and experienced and watched what happened with Katrina, and of course, paid attention to their TV sets and all that was going on, and if you look at what's happening today in Texas, as well as what's happening in Florida, the local and the state preparedness levels have increased, as well as the federal government has stepped up and has much more resources pre-positioned in a much better fashion.
Big issue in the past has been that the radios from one agency wouldn't connect to the radios from another agency. So some county police department can't talk to the state police, can't talk to the helicopters or whatever. How are we doing on that?
I think we've improved greatly. In fact, I was kind of surprised here recently when I think it was South Dakota, with some of the issues they had out there. They were talking about they were still on low band. Well, in the whole Baltimore metropolitan, almost the entire East Coast area, we're all on either 700 or 800 frequencies that we're able to intermix without any problem.
Let's grab a phone call from Cecil County. This is Russell.
That's home.
Russell, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Okay. FEMA is forcing me to get an elevation of my house, and I took prices, and there was anywhere from $700 to $1,500, and I have to fill out forms. And why should I be forced to pay that amount?
Russell, where are you in Cecil County?
Near Elkton, Maryland, on the Elk River.
Okay. I mean, were you taking out a mortgage, or was there some reason for it?
No. Okay. I have flood insurance.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Right.
Yeah, that's a question. We'd probably need to know a little bit more of the detail, but if he could give our office a call, we have our mitigation folks would be very happy to talk to him and go through that.
Let's take a call from Anne Arundel County. This is George. George, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm very interested in getting some facts on something I heard on TV, so it must be true, that although I've always assumed that the flood zones were determined by surveyors or engineers based on their observations, that actually some flood maps or the lines of where floods are determined to be in the 100-year or other zones that have actually been manipulated by politicians and therefore are not based on the factual observations of the professionals who did the measurements.
George, thank you very much. Let me get you an answer on that. Any politicians redrawing maps?
That's the first I've heard of any of that. I mean, that's a process that really FEMA establishes those areas for the floodplains and the floodways.
You know, we saw in Houston that a lot of places that weren't in the 100-year flood zone are underwater.
Right. So they change. And that's one of the things that folks need to watch and pay attention to is whether or not the area they're living in has either gone into or even come out of an inundation area.
Very good. Russ Strickland is the head of MEMA, the Maryland Emergency Management Agency. Russ, thank you for the time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Coming up tonight, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Our scam expert is back with tips to help keep you ahead of the scammers. We'll be right back.
Got an unused vehicle going nowhere? Donate it to the one place that can take you any place. Visit mpt.org/vehicles and support the programs you love on MPT.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
What happens in Japan and Asia matters to me. And with NHK World's newsroom in Tokyo, I get the news live from Japan right at the start of my day.
New ideas come out of Asia all the time. NHK Newsline reports on business, technology, and world events from Tokyo to Bangkok.
Once in the morning gives me a heads up on the competition.
Every hour on the hour, the news I want from Asia.
Watch NHK World now on Comcast Channel 268 and Verizon Channel 480.
Are you turning 70 and a half this year? If so, you generally have to start spending down your retirement account. Even the minimum distribution can place you in a sticky situation. Luckily, you can now use your IRA to make tax-free gifts. Gifts up to $100,000 will never count as income, but always make a difference. That's icing on the cake.
Make your gift for this year before December 31st. Visit mpt.org/support.
This is a box that showed you a world beyond your own. It was just a box, but the world has changed, and so have we. And now the box can be almost any size or shape. And you decide what you want to explore. Anytime, any place. Break out of the box with PBS.
Joining us now is Angie Barnett, Better Business Bureau of Greater Maryland. You are the president, and the BBB is celebrating its 100th anniversary.
Absolutely. Happy birthday
to
us.
You've only been around for 25 of those years, so.
Okay, not quite, but yes, we're still thrilled. This year is our 100th anniversary serving Marylanders, business and consumers in Maryland. The brand itself is 104 years old, so this is our year to celebrate.
How did the whole thing get started?
It got started, actually, the real history, there was a court case in which Coca-Cola was being charged with fraudulent advertisement. Back then, Coke did advertise that drinking a Coca-Cola would cure all ills. And so there was a court case for it. Coke actually lost. But it was individuals from Coca-Cola that said, we really need to have vigilance communities that are concerned about truth in advertisement. Advertisement is designed to lead you to choose one product or one seller over another, and there must be truth in that. And our origins have to do with truth in advertisement as well as the belief in self-regulation.
And you're a nonprofit.
We are a nonprofit organization.
So there are sister organizations all over the country?
Absolutely. There's 108 BBBs throughout U.S. and Canada, so every square inch is covered by a BBB. There's actually some BBBs that are starting up in Mexico, high tourist area, places where you sign up for excursions, and there's a lot of complaints in those areas. So BBB is in a probationary phase in Mexico.
Okay, we'll come back to how you guys work, but we want to talk about some of the scams that surprisingly are cropping up in the wake of the big storm.
Absolutely.
But I really want to talk about this leak from the credit rating agency Equifax. I think it was that one, where their servers were hacked. 100 million people,
173 million,
which pretty much everybody had their credit reports or some degree of information leaked out to the hackers or the dark web or whatever. It's just exasperating.
This one is actually really scary. This is like the triple crown of all thefts, because scam artists actually now have potential to have your Social Security information, possibly your medical information, all your credit information. But that Social Security number, your date of birth, address, etc., that leads somebody to be able to actually commit real identity theft, to set up loans, to take jobs, to file income taxes, all using your ID. And that is one of the most critical and one of the most challenging things to get rid of is once that occurs. So Equifax has indeed admitted that between the time of May and July of this year, at least 173 million people were impacted, 200,000 plus credit card information on top of the Social Security.
And you really don't want to become a victim of identity theft.
No, you don't.
Or fraud. Yep. So what do you do?
All right. There's a couple of things you can do, and we're advising people, first and foremost, go to annualcreditreport.com. Annualcreditreport.com is where you can get a free copy of your credit report. You can actually get that free copy. There's 3 credit reporting bureaus. You can get one from each one free. So every 4 months, order one from a different one. Rotate that. Keep your eye. Monitor your own credit. Number 2, you need to go to Equifax. There is a website, and go to the Equifax website. You can get there through the FAQs, frequently asked questions. You can also be directed there. And you can actually put in your Social Security. And this is the trick. You're putting in your name and the last 6 digits. You know how most time people ask for the last 4 digits? Well, you're going to put in the last 6 digits of your social, and it will tell you whether or not there is a likelihood that you were a victim of this fraud. Bottom line, that information right now is not reliable. There's a wait. It'll tell you a date to come back. We're telling people, so monitor your own report. And the next thing we advise you to do, you might want to consider a credit freeze. A credit freeze puts a freeze on your account. That means no one can look into your credit report. The challenge is if you're thinking about buying a home or getting an auto loan, opening up a new credit card, now's not the time to put that freeze on there. But if you're not anticipating those things, put a freeze on your credit, and that will stop anyone from opening up an account right now.
And you can unfreeze it.
You can unfreeze it. There's usually a fee. It may be a nominal fee, $10, $15. It varies from the reporting bureau to reporting bureau. But it's your protection is so much more, worth so much more than that $10. Yeah.
Let me remind everybody, if you have a question for Angie of the Better Business Bureau about various scams floating around, give us a call. The number's on the screen. You could also tweet your questions. Twitter address is @MPT News. And let's go to the phones. Baltimore County, this is Rob. Rob, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jeff, my concern is that, unfortunately, I don't think that people in banking, I don't think people in business are really upfront about being truthful about the chance of somebody being hacked. Equifax had 6, 7, 8 different companies protecting them with shields and encryptions, and you would think that would be the safest place to go. But it got hacked. So, the Better Business Bureau, what would this lady advise? I mean, what are the likelihoods of somebody being hacked, and what's the truth of the matter?
Rob, thank you for the phone call. So Rob thinks it's 100%. You're going to get hacked eventually.
Yeah, that's what we, BBB is partnering with the Cybersecurity Association of Maryland, Inc. to really try to tell our small businesses, it is not if you get hacked, it's when you get hacked. Every business, from the sole proprietor to the largest, really need to take security precautions. And that's the thing, they're precautions. Nothing is foolproof. So he's absolutely right. With the greatest security precautions, this enormous, gigantic industry, the credit reporting bureaus, one of them has been hacked. You also, a piece to this, they are like a financial institution. We as consumers, we're not their customers. Their customers are everybody who's wanting credit information. But the thing is, they are not regulated. They are not regulated the way banks and financial institutions are as well. So I think it will pose a lot of questions to the governing regulators in this country. I think you will have a lot of the questions just like was just asked.
Montgomery County, this is Joan. Joan, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Oh, thank you, Jeff. My question is, I heard from another television station that if you go to the Equifax website, in return for entering your Social Security number, you will accept that you will not be a participant in class action lawsuits. Is this true?
No, it is not. And you were absolutely right, Joan. That originally was. That was the statement they had on there. And through a lot of pressure, they've had to remove that. So now that statement is no longer found. And just because you go for their credit monitoring program or you investigate, you are not waiving your right to any legal action going forward.
I did see, talking about credit freezes, that there's another option that I just saw today from Discover Card, and maybe some other card companies offer this too. They'll notify you if anybody applies for credit. So if a new account is opened somewhere, they'll send you an email. So at least you know, wait a second, that wasn't me, and in close to real time.
Right. And Equifax is offering that to anybody. You can get the free monitoring. Equifax will offer it to you absolutely free for a year.
A year.
And then after a year, you have to pay for the service. They are promising not to automatically enroll you in that. Be, a little skeptical on that. But credit monitoring, the one difference is exactly what you said, Jeff, and that is notifies you if and when something happens.
After the horse is out of the barn?
After the horse is out of the barn, so the freeze protects you altogether as much as you can be.
Richard from Franklin County, Pennsylvania. Richard, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Richard, and I've experienced in the last few days a theft of my caller ID number, where people are accusing me of calling them, and I have never made such calls.
Wow. So people in your neck of the woods are getting phone calls from some sales thing, and it appears to be coming from your number. Somebody calls back on the caller ID and yells at you.
Correct.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or they call me back and leave their number, and I call them, and they say, "Why did I call you? Why did I call them?"
Wow. Interesting stuff. Richard, thank you. Good luck.
Good luck, and
Heard of
that's
that
true.
one?
Yes,
I mean,
indeed.
it's
That's
spoofing.
spoofing is
Right.
what it is. And in fact, immediately after Hurricane Harvey, there was a number being published to say, this is the National Guard, call this number if you need help. That number went to an insurance agency. So that, redirecting, spoofing, using a fake number, scam artists do it all the time, whether they market that that number on a website, they do it all the time. So that's not uncommon, and it's incredibly frustrating.
Okay, so we've now convinced everybody to not believe, don't trust anybody. But when it comes to people who want to help out, look at what happened in Florida and Texas. How do you separate the agencies that can legitimately put your money to work, or at least a good portion of it, from the scammers?
Yeah, and a great question. First and foremost, we do want to encourage people to give donations of money. Putting it on your credit card, doing a donation is the best way to give right now, not sending used clothing, used furniture. Right now, they don't have the infrastructure, the capacity to handle that. So much of it goes to waste, actually. So if you want to donate, there are a couple of things that you can do to guarantee that the best anyone can say, this is a reliable nonprofit. We have one, Wise Giving Alliance. It's international. They rate national charities. And for example, American Red Cross, those are some good charities that meet all 20 standards for what we call wise giving. These standards they have to do with the business practices. So you can, there are many guides out there. Make a good selection. We also encourage people to consider making donations. Again, use your credit card. I said that twice now. But making donations to organizations that actually have boots on the ground, meaning they're physically there on the ground and they have the capacity and the experience. Trying to avoid giving to the middleman, making a donation to somebody, and they're going to take that money and give it to somebody else. We really say that's not the best use, because eventually somebody's taking a chunk of that, their share out of it.
Angie Barnett of the Better Business Bureau of Greater Maryland, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jeff.
Always a pleasure. Thursday at this time on Your Money in Business, what job seekers need to know about employer background checks, how they work, what's legal, what's not, and also why so many students have gone on a debt binge. That's Thursday at 7:30. Thanks for watching Direct Connection, and have a good night.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.